Hello, my friends. The last video I did some stenciling on vellum with various products, and if you haven't seen that video, I'll link it below in my description so you can watch it if you'd like to. This week I thought I would do some ideas for using those stenciled pieces of vellum, and I'm going to start with this one, which is as a tuck spot tab. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to round these corners just slightly. I just think that looks nice. Whoops. Only if I get it in there in the right spot. It's very dark today. I'm having a hard time seeing everything. Okay, that got it. I'm going to fold this paper in half so that it's a page size. This is some cardstock. It's a little thicker than I'd like, but it's what I've got, so we will use it. Okay. And I'm going to put, I want it to have a tuck spot on the inside here, so I'm going to place it where it's big enough to slide something behind there. Let's see if it, I think that would hold something in there. I'm going to put a paper clip on it to hold it in place while I fold it around to staple it in place. I decided I'd do staples on this one. You can glue, you could do other things. I'm going to turn it this way, and then I'm just going to turn this back where I have nice width for a tab. One other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to round this corner too. Okay. Now I'm just going to put it on here and have it where the width of the tab is about like that. And I'm going to put this in the middle. And then I'm going to put staples just at the edge here. And these are some staples that I put some gold paint on. I don't know if it's still on there or not. I think it may be. I was going to use my little stapler that came with the colored staples, but I don't think, maybe it would have reached in there. Yeah, it would have. I should have done it, but I didn't. I'm going to press those down. Try this. It's pretty good. And then on this side, I could put some washi tape over that. This is some washi tape I bought at Hobby Lobby a while back, and I think it's very pretty, so I think that's what I'm going to put on there. And I'm just going to put it over the edge there in the like that. So on this side you have that. You could add a butterfly or something to that. And then on the inside it's the tuck spot with that. And you could just any little thing you wanted to tuck in there. Here's a little card that has a bad stamp on it, but it's a possibility, something like that. I have this yellow card, and I'm just going to stamp something on there real quick. This is a set of stamps by Inka Dinka Doo. I got them at Joann a long time ago, and it doesn't really matter what goes on there, just something that fits the shape of the card, so I think I'm going to use this. It says Coffee and Friends on it. I'm just going to use Vintage Photo. A good coffee color. It might make more sense if I was putting something on this card that had something to do with ferns or other flora, but obviously it doesn't, so we're going with this. There we go. And then that can just slide in there. So that's one idea to use it for. Now if you wanted to, you could glue the top and bottom of it down, which might be a good idea just to, because that is a little bit wrinkled there. I'm just going to put a little bit of Fabri-Tac right up here at the top and bottom to hold it down. Okay, hopefully that will stick. And when it dries, hopefully it won't leave that big splotch there, so we'll see. I'm not really sure what the best glue to use with Vellum is. I think Fabri-Tac is supposed to work okay. Here is the tab that looks like Vellum. There is Vellum on the outside and a tuck spot on the inside. And that is not showing up the best with that yellow. Another color would have been better, like the blue. So maybe I'll stick the blue in there and put this behind it, just for showing it. So that's the first idea I had. And then another idea is just to use it as a page in a journal. This is another piece of that cardstock. It's a purple color. I'm thinking about my next boho journal that I'm planning to make. I don't know what that is on there. So I'm going to fold it in half. Some of these pages are a little bit heavy to be a page, but since this page is thin, I'm going to use it like that. And this is just folding it there. Now, since it's vellum and it kind of wants to crack after a while, you might want to reinforce that with some washi tape or a piece of fabric or something on that. Seam binding would be good too, to make it sturdy enough to hold it into place. So that's another idea. And this could also have the corners rounded. Do a little bit bigger round on them. So a page in a journal is an idea. Now you might be thinking, well, what can you do with this page? I'm thinking that possibly, and I'm going to try it in a little bit, you could write on the back with a Sharpie, a fine tip Sharpie, which I have here. So that is the next idea. I had this idea as a side tuck on a page. I'm just going to put this on here for now. I'm not going to glue it down or anything. I'm just going to place it there and show you the idea. It's a side tuck for this little tiny painting that I've made. That it still shows through, and the flower on there looks cute with it too. So that is another idea. And I might stitch that down to that with some gold thread. I think that's what I would do with that, is stitch it down. So that's that idea. And then also, you could tie it to a page as an overlay with a ribbon. Pull this out. This is another one. I'm not going to do that. This is the one I was writing down here at the bottom with pens. And I think I would just take that part off. Just cut it off with a knife, a little ruler. Even though I kind of liked that white squiggly line I drew on there, I didn't do the best job, so I just decided to take the whole thing off. What I would do with this is I would punch a hole up here, and I think I'd put it right in those two places. It kind of has a swirl around it anyway. And you could either also punch holes in your page and tie it to the page that way, or you could just tie the ribbon through these holes and then attach it to the page with glue or something, so that the ribbon's not showing up on the back of the page. I want to cut this top edge with a decorative scissor. This has got a little scallop on it, and I'm just going to try to go across here nice and straight. I'm not the best with this, but we'll see how it goes here. Okay, that looks pretty fair. A little bit of ragged there, but that's okay. And maybe I'll do the bottom too, since I'm at this. I have to have something to put it on so it shows up. Kind of went up there. Okay. And I'm going to get some ribbon. depending on what you're planning to do with this and how much bulk you want there, you could use, this is some organza ribbon. I've used it before on some of my projects. This is just a thin satin ribbon, and this is a gold ribbon. Would also work. And I think for this one, I'm just going to use this little thin ribbon just to see how it looks. And if that's not enough, I mean, you could also use a fabric, tear a strip of fabric and tie through there. It would be cute too. Let's see how this looks. Okay, here we go. My ribbon wants to be a little bit wonky, but you get the idea. And you can put a little glue on that to make it stay put if you want to do that. So then it could be attached to the page. And you could write on the page and just have writing back here, and then have that to kind of cover it up a little bit. It makes it a little less obvious that there's writing back there. But you could do it or not, depending on what you want to do. Or you could put a picture behind it. I think a picture behind it would be sweet. Maybe these girls. This is a Tim Holtz family pictures, or I forget what it's called. I like the way their white dresses make a nice background for the scripture. You could glue it with the ribbon and everything at the top to hold it down to the page. So that is that idea. For this next idea, I use this piece of vellum that I stenciled with spackling. I used one of the dies in this die set to cut this piece out. And the way I did it on my Big Shot machine, I didn't want to cut through this, but I did get an impression back there. I put a piece of plastic on here, sturdy plastic. I placed the die on top of this page. It might have worked better if I'd placed it inside with the die cutting edge facing up and run it through the machine that way, and then it wouldn't have cut the other piece as much. And I did put a piece of plastic back there to protect this side, even though it didn't do that great a job of protecting it. I hope that made at least a little bit of sense. On this one, I thought that I would put this just kind of where it's overlapping there. And I think I'm going to tape it down with some washi tape. You could also use double-sided tape on that if you wanted to. I have this washi tape that has kind of a botanical pattern on it, so I think I'll use that. This also came from Hobby Lobby in the paper studio section, and I came upon a sale that day, so I got it for 40% off. And you could also do this with just putting the washi tape on one or two sides and do regular tape, clear tape, on the other sides. I think it would make sense if I took these off of this cardboard. Another way you could do this also is if you had a picture that you wanted to show through this window, you could put it on here. Let's do this. If you wanted to have people, if it was a photograph you were putting back there, you could adjust it where the people are in it. Or if you just wanted the scenery, you could put it where it's like that. And you could also make that that part into a journaling card and have it, make it a pocket back here if you wanted to do that. Or, tape this down and have it slide in there. So that is that idea. And then I thought I would just try writing with this Sharpie pen on the back of the vellum on the non-stenciled side. I'm going to erase off what I did the stencil with. It erases off pretty easily off the vellum. I'll come back and do that again later if it needs a little more touch-up. I'm going to pull out one of these scripture cards and just use that to write on here. I just want to see how it looks when it's reversed and it's written on the back of the vellum. Extends to those who, oops, I kind of made a mess of that, who fear him. From generation to generation. And that is Luke 150. Now, if you have really beautiful handwriting, you might want to just write it on the front side. I don't know how well you can write over that. It doesn't show up where the white is. I don't know if this is a bust or not, but let's put it on something that's colored. There's a paint chip. Tell me what you think about that. I don't know if I like that or not, but it is an idea to be able to write on it. Or if you wanted to write on the side without the spackle or whatever it is. I mean, you could put it down this way, where you have the writing going over the top. It's painted on this side, but you've written on this side, so you could put it down like that if you wanted to see the writing more clearly. Anyway, I don't know. I'm kind of iffy on that idea. Anyway, I appreciate you watching, and I hope you got some inspiration from some of this business that I did. I don't know what I think about all of it. I feel like I'm a little disorganized today, but that's not unusual for me. So anyway, this idea, I still kind of like it as an overlay over the picture. And this works out pretty well with the scripture being on the girls' white dresses, so that it's a little more legible. And then this is the page in the book, which would need to be reinforced there. And this one is the tab on one side and the tuck spot on the other side. So that idea. And, oops, can't even see that. Put it over here. And this was the tuck spot with the little painting I did behind it. I kind of like this idea. I need to finish it up so you can see what it looks like. I think what I'm going to do is stitch it down with some gold thread and then have this whole thing ready to be put down on a page somewhere. So, and then this is the window. And you could have something over here that shows, or you could have it as a card over here that would show, or make it into a card that slides into a pocket there. Make the whole thing a pocket. Lots of options with that, but that's a thought. And I think that's all the ideas I had for today. So I'm sure there's other ways to use the vellum that's been stenciled with spackle. And if you have any ideas, I'd like to hear them. So let me know what you think. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.